Now, I'm going to just shift focus for the last 10 minutes and share with you my own personal perspective on this phenomenon, and also on the field that seeks to understand it, really, and the problems inherent with popular approaches to this phenomenon. And I'm going to read briefly here from a paper that I've prepared, so I thank you for indulging me. It won't go on long. Ufologists speak a great deal about the truth. The truth is out there, they tell people, and it must doggedly be pursued for the benefit of all mankind. But rarely are ufologists truthful with themselves. First off, there's no such thing as a ufologist. There's no such thing as a ufologist because there's no such thing as ufology, at least not in any meaningful sense of the word. If ology refers to a branch of knowledge or learning sprung from organised research, which it does, then ufology is a broken twig. The UFO subject has produced thousands of dedicated researchers over the years, none of them ufologists, and thousands more books, but few have made any significant contribution to our understanding of the UFO enigma. What, in all honesty, can we say we know conclusively today about the underlying nature and purpose of the UFO phenomenon that we didn't already know in the 1950s? The answer is very little, if anything. All we have are more testimonies and mountains of case files stuffed with much the same reports as were being filed 70 years ago. While many UFO researchers undoubtedly would consider their vocation or hobby a selfless one, I regard my own obsession with the subject, and it's fair to say that I am, or rather I was, obsessed, to be hugely self-indulgent. I've dedicated the past several years of my life to the study of UFOs, and specifically to Hollywood's depictions of the phenomenon, but to what justifiable end I can't say. I find the world around me to be enchanting, but also deeply troubling and alienating. UFOs offer me an escape into the unknown and unknowable, and this appeals to me beyond my means to express. I want so much to be part of something greater than myself, to expand my experiential boundaries through otherworldly knowledge, but I've willfully removed myself from the world I would see changed and blinded myself to the truth I've sought all along, which is ironic. I want to back up a little. By saying that ufology is non-existent, I'm not suggesting that UFOs can't be the subject of serious study. Some researchers can indeed speak with authority on certain aspects of UFOs. Their official history is recorded in declassified government documentation, their media representation over time, and even the essential physical and behavioural characteristics of UFOs and their alleged occupants. However, when it comes to understanding the underlying nature of this multifaceted phenomenon, its origins and its purposes, we are, all of us, clueless, awash in a sea of speculation and petty ideological feuds. We in the UFO community consider our cluelessness, if we consider it at all, as a point of departure in a bold Fox Mulder-like quest for the truth, but in reality we fear it may be perpetual. Meanwhile, those in the corridors of power, with secret access to UFO information, fear that they too are clueless, despite having spent perhaps billions of dollars over 7 decades to find a satisfying answer to the UFO question. Their fear in this regard is justified, for clearly, in the grand scheme of things, they are as clueless as the rest of us. Even having hands-on access to craft and bodies will not come close to bringing ufological enlightenment to the primitive 21st century inquirer. Our obsession with UFO truth speaks to our insatiable yearning to grasp the essential meaning of our universe and to fathom our purpose within it and beyond it, even. Surely higher external intelligences can provide us with the answers we seek, and in so doing make us whole, make us one. UFO disclosure, the official acknowledgement that we're not alone in the universe, will, we insist to all those who will listen, but mostly to ourselves, open the floodgates for cosmic understanding. The inherent implication of this notion is that, absent a disclosure event, humanity will remain forever in the shadow of its own ignorance and at the mercy of its basest instincts. Only UFO disclosure can save us, or at least disclosure is the closest solution to hand to save us from the sinking ship of human civilization. This is delusional. There are other, more useful sources of knowledge and wisdom available to us than UFOs, other paths towards enlightenment. You may have noticed that I've made frequent use of the word belief today. That's because when it comes to UFOs, we are all of us believers. In the absence of a definitive answer to the UFO riddle, we all believe something or other about what the phenomenon might represent. We project our pre-existing beliefs onto the UFO mystery, moulding the phenomenon to our individual paradigms and ultimately to our collective paradigm. It is my belief, based on the preponderance of evidence, that we are indeed interacting with what we might loosely term non-human intelligences, but I also recognise that the UFO phenomenon serves as an externalisation of our hopes and fears about our own species and about ourselves as individuals. The ancient Chinese text, the Tao Te Ching, advocates that we should seek not to know, but to unknow. to empty our vessels of rigid certainties, and in so doing find enlightenment in a state of unknowing. I've come to recognise that I will never come close to truly understanding the UFO mystery, and that truth is not to be found inside a flying saucer, but rather within a more earthly vessel. We in the UFO community have constructed many roads to UFO truth over the decades, but if only we could see that they all lead back to the same place, to the greatest mystery of all, to consciousness itself. If there is an ultimate truth to be found, it most assuredly is not out there. When it comes to the big picture concerning UFOs, if only we allow ourselves to know that we know nothing, the universe may yet reveal itself to us. Now, I expressed these ideas first online a few months ago in an article I posted on my blog called Letting Go of UFOs. A handful of individuals responded positively to my words, but overwhelmingly, readers accused me of being defeatist in my attitude. Defeatist. The implication being that we're in some kind of war. And certainly that's how a great many people in the UFO community see the pursuit of UFO truth, as a battle, us versus them. This way of thinking is not at all productive, as proven by 70 years of official silence on the UFO issue. They've not budged, and they will not budge, because they cannot. And by the way, they are us, and we are they. The only battle worth fighting here is with ourselves as individuals and as a species. We must fight to overcome our preconceived notions of this phenomenon, notions which to a very significant extent have been shaped and reinforced by entertainment media. We should seek to confront our deeply held beliefs about the phenomenon, seek to unknow, so that truth might reveal itself to us of its own accord and on a profoundly personal level. The problem with the disclosure mindset is that it's already declared an end to the UFO enigma. It says, in essence, we know what they are, extraterrestrial spacecraft, end of story. And then the disclosure movement looks to officialdom, a sort of unfair parent figure, and it tugs incessantly at the leg of power, saying, Dad, tell us. And Dad's like, not now, go and play with your friends. Well, you know what? Dad doesn't have the answers. Sure, he may have a few more pieces of information at his disposal than do we, but he's ashamed to tell you that he doesn't really understand what's going on either. Because despite appearances and the power of his ego, in a universe that's 13 billion years old, he's just a monkey like the rest of us, flailing around for answers in the early years of the 21st century on a planet whose dominant trend is war. So no, Dad doesn't understand what he's dealing with, and he can't even comprehend it. And it doesn't help that the phenomenon he's dealing with goes far beyond the physical, beyond the merely extraterrestrial. He's dealing with a coalescence of impossible phenomena. He's dealing with consciousness itself. And so what can Daddy possibly tell the kids without appearing ignorant and confused, without losing a huge weight of his authority as a parent, as a leader? It's better to stay silent and let the kids believe that he has all the answers, that he's all-knowing. It's for this reason that should officialdom ever come clean on the UFO issue, we should all be immediately and extremely suspicious, because UFO truth by way of official power structures will not be truth at all. We know this. It will, by necessity, be whatever truth least vilifies and incriminates the secret keepers, whose primary concern is not to bring about world peace through the disclosure of cosmic secrets, but rather to avoid at all costs being lynched by angry mobs for having withheld from the public incomprehensible data concerning the nature of our reality, and to maintain our existing global system, a system in which the activities of the privileged few are concealed from the distracted masses. This is the system we vote for year after year, decade after decade, the illusion of democracy. And if and when the day comes that the layers of our reality are peeled back and humanity collectively finds itself in a new world, it will not be for one signature too many on a disclosure petition. If we must insist on using the term, disclosure is a slow process of personal awakening on a mass scale. When I say personal awakening, I most certainly do not mean the simple acceptance that we are not alone in the universe. I mean a continuing process of inner exploration. The ultimate irony of the disclosure movement is that it deeply distrusts officialdom while simultaneously looking to officialdom for the truth. And by imagining all answers to the UFO mystery to be out of public reach, deep in the bowels of the national security state, the disclosure movement actually places power into the hands of officialdom while disempowering the individual. I certainly don't have a fast track to UFO truth. I don't believe there is a fast track to UFO truth. All too often on the UFO scene, audiences are content to hear what they want to hear, to have their existing beliefs confirmed by self-proclaimed experts who know full well that their personality cult is guaranteed by telling the crowds, and dare I say followers, only what they want to hear, that disclosure is just around the corner and that a brighter tomorrow will follow that day. But the kind of revolutionary change we hope will be triggered by UFO disclosure can only ever occur from a bottom-up level and over a considerable expanse of time. enlightenment is earned slowly by the individual. It is not handed to him by officialdom on a saucer-shaped platter. But then it's easier to demand of a faceless bureaucracy than it is to demand of ourselves. I should clarify that I don't take issue with the disclosure movement in itself. The efforts of people like Steve Bassett and others have undoubtedly brought UFOs to the attention of many thousands of people around the world who previously were indifferent to the issue, and this is to be applauded. What does concern me, however, is that disclosure has become the focus of the UFO community. It's a luring offer of a fast track to UFO truth, marginalising more esoteric approaches to the phenomena. In short, in the age of disclosure and exopolitics, the pursuit of UFO truth is political rather than mystical. If the day ever comes when humanity can claim an understanding of the UFO phenomenon, I'm very confident that politics will have played almost no part in this enlightenment. We should see UFOs then not as a call to pressure governments to unlock their files. Officialdom has nothing left to offer us on UFOs, nothing we can believe or accept. And free energy technologies, if they exist, will not save our world because they will not miraculously change human nature. So let's take officialdom out of the equation altogether. Let's shift the focus onto ourselves and onto our own relationship with this phenomenon. Let's see UFOs as a call to look within, with the aim of unlocking our true mystical nature and our latent psychic and spiritual potential. Because in so doing, we might actually begin to understand all forms of extraordinary and impossible phenomena. Perhaps all that's required on our part is a recognition, or rather a profound acceptance, that the distinction between an individual and the invisible beyond that surrounds her is entirely illusory. I'm in no doubt that some of what I've said here today will not sit well with many in the UFO community, perhaps with many here in this room. But for what little it may be worth, I wanted to share with you honestly my own shifting perspective on this phenomenon and on the field that seeks to understand it. Thank you.